up, guys? We're back with another podcast here with SeekaHost and the SeekaCast. I'm here with Fernando.
Yeah, guys, today another episode of our podcast. We're going to dive deep into really interesting topics. Me and James got a lot of topics to be covered, and also hope our SeekaCast new the tops looks good. And a lot of interesting things are going to come. And so far, for being our audience and liking and supporting, and just really like it, and more interesting stuff is coming. So yeah, James.
So first thing that we're going to cover actually, and probably more due to popular demand, I suppose, from the video, is Freenom, because there's been a lot of interest. We've had a lot of comments on there, a lot of questions, what's sort of going on. I think a lot of people didn't actually realise that it was down. So in this podcast, we're going to cover a little bit more about what actually happened, what has happened. I've dug out a little bit of information, and we've also got some stats here to show exactly why. Let's get down to the main reason why Freenom is actually down. Don't take this as a matter of fact, but obviously news articles that we have found. However, it seems that Freenom is actually getting sued quite badly. Not only one time.
So they are.
Twice. Yes, they got sued last year.
So when it comes to getting sued, right? Was it because they were letting register those phishing domains, like?
Oh man, so the data is actually enormous. So if you can see it on this camera here, over 50% of all phishing domains were from Freenom.
But the thing, why are they responsible?
So because they're in control of the domain, Meta, which is the people that are suing them, has had a massive problem with it. They sued them in 2022, 2022, sorry. Just because the amount of phishing, because obviously, for anybody who doesn't understand phishing, it's basically a way of making like a website is to get your data, whether it be payment details, personal details. They spoof
So they
websites.
have most of the domains registered with them.
Absolutely.
And,
Well,
the other thing what they should be doing is, like, if they get a legal, like the court warning or something, right? They should take down the domains, because I mean that's what we would do in SeekaHost, right? Like, if another registrar or another company is saying, okay, my these guys have registered the domains with y'all, we can't take it down. We need to get a legal rule action to be taken place to take us the domain. So that's, I don't know why they don't tackle it. It's bad on them, but
so apparently
it opens up opportunities.
Reading through the article, apparently what's happened is they're very secretive about their clients. So rather than being like, okay, well, this is our client, we'll deal with it, they've gone, no. They've not given any information. This is why Meta's had such a problem, and re-suing them again.
But the thing, as a registrar, they can't give any data of the client. So we cannot literally give for anybody. Unless it goes to escalation for the courts and everything, to the governing body in the country and the stuff. We can't. Like, so we get like people in SeekaHost sometimes would say like, oh, somebody had copied my website and put on this particular domain. Can you take it down? Which we can't really. So likewise, the same thing. If somebody had registered a domain, even so say like you registered the domain, which I have the trademark, still you own the domain, even though with the trademark. So that's how the law says up for. Now it is. So that has to be really looking into.
It costs a lot of people. I mean, when we went to that event over in Athens, I was talking to Weglot, the translational plugin. No, sorry, not Weglot. It was another plugin anyway. Apparently, it's taken them 3 years to get the domain that they wanted. That because someone else had it, they couldn't do anything. They had to buy it off of them. So it ended up paying an enormous amount just to get that one domain to suit them. I just wanted to read out one of the paragraphs over here. By the time Meta initially filed its lawsuit in December 2022, Freenom was the source of well over more than half of all new phishing domains, coming from country code top-level domains. Meta initially asked the court to seal its case against Freenom, but the request was denied. They've now withdrew it, and they're now refiling it for March 2023. And that's why, as of March 2023, there's been no new registrations. There's been no one been able to, even log in. They've cut the login. You still get, I got an email saying your thing's expired. Apparently it doesn't even expire anymore. So if you do have a free one, potentially you might keep going with that free one until they sorted out the problem. But yes, it's a mixture of them being very secretive for their domains, not telling, obviously, as you said, they're not allowed to. And Meta getting very angry about the fact that they...
Yeah, but Meta getting angry cannot... Freenom can't go down.
I think it's due to the legality of it, because you're not legally allowed to make, I think, phishing sites and gather people's data. It's fraud.
So that the person who created the domain is responsible, and then the court should rule out an order to saying Freenom take down these domains. So if they don't take down, that's a problem. So what can happen is, like, Meta goes file a case, it goes to court, and then of course Freenom has to take into consideration of taking this domain. That's how it is if they've been ruled out to take down the domains. But if not, they can't. Meta just like, so if somebody registered a Facebook dot something and or anything like sort of thing.
Facebook.tk or something.
Yeah, something. I don't think anybody can go about and like tell that unless there is a real legal case going on. But yeah, seems to be like they're messing it up, right? So they're down.
Oh, absolutely.
They're down. Like, so if anybody's like you've been using Freenom, like anyway, it's a free thing. You can't be complaining and going about it, right? Because you kind of like knew when you were going after those free. However, I could see like millions and millions of people like been searching it online and like having it like, I mean, for Freenom alternative, SeekaHost ranks #1 and as listed, like getting tons of clicks every month. Some people who are looking for domains, but your best bet is like getting a cheap domain, right? You can spend few bucks, like that's the best way to go forward. Anybody who's looking for Freenom, and if you are seeing this video and if you because you wanted to see the case what happened to Freenom and you're looking for alternatives, there are so many alternatives on the web. Best thing to do is like pay and buy a domain from a valid registrar which has a good track record, which is not done on dodgy stuff and all, and get your domain. Because if you build a website, if your domain is gone, you like all the things in the brand and everything, because you're going to build the brand around the domain name. And so that's why anybody who's like looking, I see tons of people from literally a lot of countries, India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, or like those side of the region is where the search volumes are really high. They just don't want to pay it and get it. And if you're going to put time to build a blog, you might as well be ready to lose it. At least have a backup going on.
Well, I think what these people do, they just go through domains. They have a site that they like to make or something, and they'll just get a new domain. They get found out, get a new domain under a different email. It was super easy. This is one of the problems with giving stuff for free, I do find, though, is you do get the bad quality people come from, the people that they don't want to pay, and because they don't want to pay, they don't respect it, so they're going to do whatever. It's a free domain.
That's why they're going there. So I mean, Freenom should not actually do Freenom anymore. Charge at least $1. How can you keep it? Because according to the volume you have, if you even charge $1, a couple of dollars, right? You are making money to run operation and proper teams and everything. Why are you giving for free, right? I mean, I can understand if it is a student or anything, you can, but don't give masses to free. It's like it's spoiling the entire ecosystem of this domain registration and bad reputation and all those things.
It is.
That's not how it should be going on.
Phishing at the moment is just terrible. Anything to do with bots, phishing. It's like the internet is absolutely packed. We won't go too much into that now because I actually want to move on to that in a different subject. But I just want to say another thing. It's quite a long thing they printed out here about Freenom. More than 5 ccTLDs to which Freenom provides its service for choices are the choices for cyber criminals, which unfortunately has really just brought this to a bit of a head here. And funnily enough, one of the top registrars before that was actually Namecheap, which I found out through this article as well. They were the #1 phishing place to get your domain, get a phishing style domain because it was so cheap, with the £1 domains. Obviously after that it moved over to Freenom. And from Freenom, it sort of is now starting to disperse. Realistically, you're never going to get rid of it. People will always find sites. They'll find a free place, a cheap place, and ironically, some people are even using Cloudflare, which is like a safer way to do it. In fact, and just to back that up as well, I'll have the image coming up on the video now, but you can just tell by the number of phishing domains that were registered after Freenom went free. And this is quite puzzling and bizarre. You'll see why.